I know y'all remember this. When I first came into office, I first asked, when is the time to get tough on blight? You remember what y'all said? Right now. Thank you very much. That's exactly right now. So of course, none of our progress on blight matters if you still have a big old nasty house next door. But we are close to hitting our goal of fixing or tearing down nearly 10,000 blighted properties since we came into office. We're working at it day and night because for New Orleans to succeed, our neighborhoods need to be strong. That is why we invest millions each year in fighting blight. But it's not all about bulldozing and demolition. It's about bringing properties back into commerce. That is why we turned our soft second program around and got it working again. Now, $52 million in the soft second program is helping hundreds of families realize the American dream and build generational wealth through home ownership. First-time home buyers like the Martin family, who were living in a small rented apartment with 5 kids in the East, qualified for the soft second program assistance and now own their own home in the same area. The Martin family and 268 people and families who benefited from the Soft Seconds program and now own their own home are making New Orleans neighborhoods stronger. Would you guys please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Congratulations. But as you all know, a neighborhood is much, much more than just a collection of houses. So while others talked, we actually made it happen. We walked the walk. We cut red tape, and our progress is self-evident by the hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure improvements. New streets, new bike lanes, new libraries, new police and fire stations, new parks and playgrounds, new schools. We have already spent millions fixing major corridors, 90 major street repair projects, 33 miles of streets, $375 million of street repairs hitting the ground as we speak. Then there are the streetscapes. And citywide, we've gone from less than 10 miles of bike lanes before Katrina to nearly 60 miles today, with another 10 miles on the way. And according to the League of American Bicyclists, we are now a bronze-level bike-friendly community. Plus, there are big-time projects that are hitting the ground right now. Now, I know all of our lives are busy, and it's easy to take for granted and just pass these projects by as if they had always been there. So in case anybody missed it, I just want you to look at a few highlights of finished projects or those that are getting off the ground in the last 3 years. The 7th District Police Station on Dwyer Road, Joe W. Brown Park and Center in the East, the New Orleans East Library, the new fire station in Venetian Isles, Oliver Bush Tennis Courts in Lower 9, Sam Bonart Park in Lower 9, the new fire station in Lower 9, Wesley Barrow Stadium in Pontchartrain Park, Joseph Bartholomew Golf Course and Clubhouse in Pontchartrain Park, the Algiers Regional Library on Holiday Drive, Cedar Hubble Library in Old Algiers, Rosa Keller Library in Broadmoor, Comiskey Park in Mid-City, Norman Maier Library in Gentilly, the Robert E. Smith Lupo Library in Lakeview, Norwood Thompson Park in Gertown, the new Corridors Complex, EMS Headquarters and Rosenworld Center in B.W. Cooper, the St. Roch Market on St. Claude, St. Roch Park, the 5th District Police Station on St. Claude, Lions Center on Chapatula Street, Horrell Park in Hollygrove, the incredible Sanger Theater on Canal Street, and the University Medical Center Hospital in Mid-City. And finally, the beautiful new Loyola streetcar line is already open, and the Rampart Street extension is on the way. And ladies and gentlemen, there is more to come. And let's not forget our new housing developments in our neighborhoods. Billions invested in affordable housing for thousands of our residents. Residents represented by the Hano Citywide Tenants Association, who are with us today. President Lily Woodfark, Cynthia Wiggins of Gust, Constance Haynes of Fisher, Donna Johnson of Marrero Commons, Diana Cornely from Florida, and Imelda Paul from Lafitte. Ladies, thank you so much for your leadership. Will you please stand up and let the folks of New Orleans thank you for your work. So here we go. We're working it. We're doing what we can to change the bad to the good. NORD was struggling, so we doubled the funding for recreation, and we have created a new NORD. This summer, 4,000 kids will have a great time at 33 youth camps. 1,000 of our teens at 17 camps across the city. 13 pools with 7,700 kids and adults getting swimming lessons, and 1,600 young people between 13 and 21 will learn the value of a hard day's work through our summer jobs program. It is a beautiful thing to see, and this can only happen through partnerships. So I want to give my deep thanks to all the boosters, the volunteer coaches, the NORD employees, NORD commissioners, and the sponsors in the House today. Would you guys please stand? Vic, thank you so much for all of your work, and to the NORD Commission. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Craig. Now, we're making progress, but none of this can occur if we don't pinch every penny and watch the bottom line. So perhaps most importantly, I worked very closely with this city council, and together we have made tough decisions and balanced the budget 3 years in a row and gotten rid of our structural deficit. Here is the way that we do it. We cut, we reorganize, and we invest savings in what really matters. The result? City Hall is spending $40 million less per year than the year before we took office. City government was too big. It was too cumbersome. So we're working to consolidate 19 boards and commissions. We consolidated departments, cut overtime, cut take-home cars, cut millions in contracts, and practically eliminated the use of city credit cards. And we're moving forward. We're delivering more value to the taxpayers, and there's more to come. This city now belongs to its future. We are building a foundation for our children. All this progress is wonderful. But as every parent knows, as my mama tells me, you can never be happier than your saddest child. Many daunting challenges remain that we must overcome in this city. A dysfunctional criminal justice system, crumbling infrastructure and roads, sewage and water board reform, and firefighter pension problems, just to name a few small ones. Let me let that sit there for a second. But here's the thing. Kicking the can down the road is not a pathway to excellence. There is no challenge more urgent and more important than murder and violent crime. Last year, 193 people, our fellow citizens, were murdered in this city. 193 tragic stories and a wake of destruction and heartbreak. Let us just take a moment to remember a few victims from just the last 2 months. Desmond Bell, Chico Delbar, Christian Evans, Ryan Carter, Siddiqui Navar, Lawrence Brown, Joseph Massenberg, Nicholas Ross, Norman Driscoll, Tyler Lee, and 8-year-old Damon Harris, who last month got caught in the crossfire, shot in the gut, nearly bled out in his mama's arms. Unlike Breonna Allen, who was taken from us, by the grace of God, Damon survived. But his life is changed, and the damage is already done. Yes, there's no question we've made a lot of progress. Last year, overall crime was down. Murders down over 25% compared to this time in 2011, down nearly 15% from this time last year. But this isn't good enough. And remember, this problem will not be solved overnight. Since 1979, 34 years ago, on average, every year, 241 young African-American men have been killed on the streets of New Orleans. Every year, on average, 241 precious lives lost in the relentless drumbeat of death. This has got to stop. And make no mistake about it, it can be fixed. There is an answer to this problem. Our answer is called NOLA for life, because we will end the cycle of violence and change the culture of death in New Orleans to a culture of life. The pillars of NOLA for life are really simple. There are 5 of them. Stop the shooting, invest in prevention, create jobs and opportunity, get involved and rebuild neighborhoods, and number 5, improve the police department. Here are a few key aspects of the plan. Because turning the tide is a huge challenge, we established a multi-agency gang unit. Now, federal and state law enforcement and the district attorney and the U.S. attorney work side by side with the NOPD. Here's their goal. They go after and dismantle known violent groups or gangs operating in the city and target 649 of the most violent offenders. Here's our message to them. Stop the shooting. or else we're coming for you and all of your friends. And you know what? We're seeing results. Just in the last few weeks in the 7th Ward, 5 members of the MMG gang were taken off the streets. And there is more to come. But we need to get on the front end to interrupt violence, actually, before it happens. So in partnership with the Urban League, we launched Ceasefire New Orleans in Central City. Now, if one shooting has the possibility of leading to another, the ceasefire workers get on it and interrupt the cycle of violence. They're helping young men get back on track. Young men like Jamal, who after getting involved with ceasefire went from hanging in the streets with the wrong people to studying business at SUNO. He is a great example, and he is with us today. Jamal, will you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you, Jamal. NOLA for Life also puts a heavy emphasis on prevention. This is where midnight basketball comes in. On June 1st, we will start our 4th season, and it's wonderful. Over 1,000 mostly young men have come out to play ball, get connected to resources, and hear encouraging messages of hope from people who have made it. But hope alone is not enough, and our young people need jobs. So when they put down the gun, there is something else for them to pick up. That's why we're creating jobs and opportunity, and that's the 3rd and central pillar of NOLA for Life. Since taking office, we have doubled the number of summer jobs for kids and rapidly expanded the number of job sites. Our city's reentry coordinator is creating a pathway so the formerly incarcerated returning to our communities can find jobs and stay out of trouble. Plus, we've partnered with Delgado again and others to create a new job training and placement services for hundreds of people interested in the thousands of jobs that are coming online now with the Sewage and Water Board, the airport, the RTA, and the UMC hospitals. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is NOLA for Life? NOLA for Life is the multi-agency gang unit. NOLA for Life is midnight basketball, recreation, and mentorship for 1,000 young men who got to get out of crime hotspots. It's Ceasefire New Orleans, it's jobs and opportunities, and it is the NOLA for Life Fund. Over $1 million raised from private sector sponsors like Chevron and others, $500,000 invested in 23 local organizations that help stop the shooting. And it is NOLA for Life Days, where Taylor and Hardin Parks to East Shore and McDonough playgrounds, hundreds of citizens have hit the streets with community groups, city agencies, and the NOPD to clean up crime hotspots. But ladies and gentlemen, the community still needs help. That's why the final pillar of NOLA for Life is so important. We must improve the New Orleans Police Department and give them what they need to get the job done. We cannot ever forget what police officers risk every day and what they sacrifice. Earlier this year, Officer John Passero was shot multiple times responding to an armed robbery in progress. He put everything on the line to uphold his sacred oath to us, to protect and to serve, and he paid a very heavy price. He's here with us today, one of the many officers committed to do that duty, protecting us from harm. We salute and honor you, Officer Passero, and your wonderful wife, Stephanie, and all of the other police officers who are with us today that make the sacrifice. Thank you so much. Thank you, officer. So with the help from hundreds of honest, dedicated cops like Officer Passero, NOPD is on the mend, and we will reform NOPD. We're not waiting for anyone, not even the Department of Justice.